Anti-racism is about promoting, being active to take down anything that is unfair, mistreats people in terms of based on their colour. It's active, it's not passive, and anti-racism is the real commitment to dismantling a system that has been set up to keep people of colour down, and it has practices and procedures that are kind of baked in, because people a lot of the time kind of refer to racism as being about individuals being prejudicial, but actually the bigger part is about power. And therefore, anyone that signed up to being anti-racist needs to be active. They can't sit on the fence. People talk about being non-racist or not racist, but that's kind of passive. You need to be active in dismantling a system that actually renders some people less than and privileges others. So what sparked my activism around anti-racism was, if I could pinpoint it, was the uprisings or the riots in the 1980s. And it's interesting because prior to that, I was in church. So very, very sheltered. I was brought up in a Pentecostal church. And therefore, I was sheltered from the world to a certain extent. But in the 80s, you could not know about the riots because it was on TV, it was on the news. And something else that was really impacting was Roots, the film, the series, which was on a Sunday night, I remember it. And that really awoke my consciousness in terms of understanding what was going on in the world. And I think as a child also, I've always been very socially conscious and always on the side of the underdog, defending them, ensuring that people were treated fairly. So I've always had that in me. I think that was just part of my personality. But as I grew up, I began to understand what the power relationships were taking place in the world. And I was really offended that Black people were being treated the way they were. I think also just seeing the police and how they were treating, little snippets on the news, how they were treating Black people. And then we'd hear stories from Rastafarians in the area talking about how the police would, grab them and put them in the back of vans and take them to police stations, and the ill treatment that they received. So that kind of sparked my interest, and I wanted to do something about it. I just could not sit by and be a spectator. I had to get involved. So one of the things that I did to try to make a difference was to set up what would you call it? An organisation, a festival. It's called Return to Your Roots. And Return to Your Roots was about how do we instill pride and ensure that people have a sense of identity, self-love in a society that was all about denigrating them. So Return to Your Roots was about helping our people, Black people in particular, to get a sense of who they were, understanding their history. I know how important that was for me, because I remember before understanding my history, and that our history did not start in slavery. It actually started way, way, way before that. 5,000 years ago, talk about Egypt or Kemet, places like Sudan, Zimbabwe, places like Timbuktu. Understanding the history changed my posture. So I used to walk around, you know, shoulders down, feeling kind of dejected, believing the lie that I wasn't worth very much. But when I began to understand the greatness, what we'd contributed to the world, my posture changed. An anti-racist city needs to be somewhere that everybody feels valued, everyone feels celebrated, and it's a place where, particularly for the leadership in the city, we need to see representation of all of its constituents, people that live in the area, all of the communities. They need to be represented at the highest level. Leadership isn't just about having the right skills, qualities, etc., which no doubt everyone needs. But leadership is also about showing us that and demonstrating that you are working in the interest of the people within your community, within the society. So that's really important. An anti-racist city, if I drive around, I should see images of people from all different backgrounds. So the diversity of the city needs to be clear and visible. I think an anti-racist city has to have employers and employers that are committed to inclusion, equity and diversity. And it's not like niche, it's not cliche, it's not tick box. It's a place where employees need to feel like they belong, they feel emotionally safe and psychologically safe, because all employers have a duty to ensure that everyone in their care that comes to work, because work throws people together that would ordinarily have nothing to do with each other. So here's an opportunity for everyone to embrace inclusion and diversity so that they can be more productive. I think a city that is anti-racist, the schools need to have curriculum that embraces diversity. The history, Black history should be taught, because Black history is not just about a set of people, but actually it is British history. You can't teach one side of the history and not the other. History is history, the good and the bad, so that children growing up in the city can learn about the past, what not to do, again, what not to repeat, and what is good for a city, so that we turn our young people into great citizens for the future. And that will continue to build an amazing city that is anti-racist. So you're doing it in practice. Having those terms on a piece of paper and a commitment to anti-racism is the start, but we need to live that in everything that we do, in all the spaces. We need to celebrate everyone.
Beyond racism, racism and beyond, anti-racism has to be the norm. Let's build a city where everyone belongs. Beyond racism, racism and beyond, anti-racism has to be the norm. A world of understanding, that's what we crave. From every corner, every land, a tapestry woven by every hand. Harmonious call, we rise and stand.